Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Melissa. I am the owner and artist here at the Top Drawer RVA located in Richmond, Virginia. I'm also a Dixie Belle brand ambassador. I found this gorgeous vanity on Marketplace on Facebook. It was a steal at only $40 and I scooped it up as fast as I could. Now this little beauty is in for a big change. She needs a lot of TLC, so get ready for a lot of wood filler, mud, and repair work. After a good clean with white lightning and a rinse with water, I started taking off all the broken pieces of the front of the drawer. This drawer doesn't have any pull handles. You reach in from the bottom, so I wanted to make sure that I fixed all the broken trim before I started. So I came in with a couple of little multi-tools and removed any of the broken bits that were already broken or too far gone to be saved. The pieces that I did save, I did reuse to rebuild parts of that decorative trim that you see in the front, and I will also be using my Woodubend moldings to repair the front of the drawer where I took off the scroll work. Woodubend moldings are absolutely amazing for doing this sort of repair. Since when you heat them up, you can bend them, cut them, you can file the edges down smooth. Whatever you need to do, you're able to do it with Woodubend moldings. So I used some decorative trim to fill in some of the missing spots, as well as the swirls that you see on both sides. Using my heat gun to get that Woodubend molding bendable and pliable, and then using wood glue to adhere it to the piece. I came in with my Dixie Belle's mud in white to fill in any of the tiny gaps, and once they are dry, you can sand them back to flat. Now this drawer front looks as good as new. Well, as good as new to me anyways. After that was ready to go and drying, I came in with a little bit more mud and sanded it back down to flat. Then I had to do a primer on this piece. This piece is pretty old and the wood is kind of like a bleeding style of wood. No matter how many times I washed it, I couldn't get it clean. So Boston Gray is going to come to my rescue. Using Boston Gray is going to give me a nice clean slate with zero bleed through on this piece for when I get ready to paint. Boss is available in 3 different colors: clear, white, and gray. I chose gray for this piece because I really didn't know what I was going to do. Originally I was thinking pink, but we're actually going to be doing blue today. When you use a paint color like pink that has that high red pigment in it, using the Boston Gray is what's going to help you build a great base for your paint. While the bottom part of my vanity starts to dry, I am going to work on the top of this piece. This is gel stain. Now, I get this comment a lot, people saying, "What? You put that gel stain over top of an existing finish?" Heck yes, this is why I love gel stain, because by putting it over top of an existing finish, I'm going to hide any flaws, disguise any marks, and get a beautiful uniform color. The color that you see me using here is called Colonial Black. My handy dandy tip of the day is to go darker. The darker you go with your gel stain and the thicker you apply your gel stain, the more you're going to cover all of those little damages. All the little marks that I covered up with wood filler or with Dixie Belle's mud, any of the water marks, any of the little chips, anything that's not supposed to be there, this is going to cover that. To apply my gel stain, I use an applicator pad. Number 1, because it's clean, and number 2, because the terry cloth really gets in well around the edges, and I can just throw it away after I'm finished. Remember, this gel stain is an oil-based product. I'm not going to wash and reuse these pads. They are one use and done. If you feel the need that your surface is smaller or you don't have enough area to really cover with one of those big giant pads, you can easily cut it in half before you use it, and then you're going to save your pennies in that way. I usually start on the edges with my gel stain just to make sure that I'm getting in and under the lip of the piece. You can see some blue painter's tape where I've taped off the edges just to make sure that I'm going to get right underneath as close to where the painted surface will be. This just enables me to get it there without getting it on the bottom part of the vanity where I don't want it to hang out. So start on your edges and just move along until you get all of the edges covered, and then you're going to use nice, smooth, even strokes on the top to apply your gel stain. You can see me applying it here smoothly from left to right in the direction of the wood grain, and you're building up that coverage. Remember, I don't want to see the wood underneath because it is so heavily damaged. I also did this to the 4 front ornate feet on the piece, wiping it on, and usually when I do it on the feet, I don't seal with anything. The top of the piece, due to heavy use, will get sealed with gator hide for maximum protection. To apply the gel stain on the feet of your piece, it's as easy as what you see me doing. Just wipe it on. Wiping on the gel stain is going to cover any of those imperfections, any little scuff marks that you might see, and give you that pretty dark uniform finish. You can really see how dry the wood is here in this part of the video where I'm close up, and how quickly the gel stain gets in here, covers, and does the job. Again, zero sanding needed. You can totally put this over top of existing finishes. In the next part of the video, you're going to see me go live on Facebook. I'm live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on Facebook on the Dixie Belle paint page. So get ready for some paint and to see my cute little face talking you through the process. And we're live. Hello, Dixie Belle paint fans. How are you today? It is Melissa from the Top Drawer RVA coming to you live because it is Wednesday, and I'm live every Wednesday at this time to sit on the floor and play with paint. And I have a new project, and I thought you might want to come along and join me today. So welcome. If you don't know me, I am one of Dixie Belle's 7 brand ambassadors. I am also a social media coach, and I love to get messy and paint wonderful things. And we do this live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. here on the Dixie Belle paint page. And today I have a new project, and she'd be fancy. She's a fancy one, y'all. She's super cute. I was away this past weekend in Florida doing some amazing teaching workshops. I was in Bradenton, I was in Venice, I was in Seminole. I had so much fun playing with paint, and we got to get some hands-on experience and meet some wonderful people. So if you were one of the ones that joined me in Florida, sunny Florida, thanks for coming out and hanging out, playing with paint with me. I had so much fun. And now I'm back. Planes, trains, and automobiles because, yo, flights these days are insanity. Did you know that? It's like, I feel like 9 out of 10 flights that I take are just always messed up. They're never on time. They're always canceled. There's always weather. Like, I don't remember being like this 20 years ago when I used to fly. So I don't know. I got trapped in Florida. I had to drive home with my father-in-law, and we did the 12-hour drive in one night with no sleep. But we made it, and we're home safely. So I am ready to play with paint and have some fun today. So what are we gonna do? We are gonna paint this fantabulous Vanity. This is really old, and she had a lot of damage, And you know, it's funny because I get a lot of heck online for painting things, as particularly wood things that people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you painted that. And I'm like, did you see it before I started? Because it probably came out of the garbage. But this beauty was actually a Facebook Marketplace find, and she was in rough shape, but I have brought her back from the brink. And I did this with some beautiful Woodubend scrolls here that you can see to replace missing and broken trim. There's Woodubend moldings here too in this little small part where it attaches it together. The molding was broken and missing part of the actual drawer, so I cut the other side off and rebuilt it. Some of the molding that I removed, I repurposed down here to rebuild some scroll work. So when you see all these crazy pieces that I paint, let me tell you, they're in rough shape when I get them. I'm bringing them back from the brink of extinction with a little bit of paint and some TLC. So what did I do to this little guy so far? Well, I cleaned it very well with White Lightning, because White Lightning is a great deglosser for any surface, as well as a great way to remove any oils or dirt off your pieces, right, before you paint. I then came in with my Dixie Belle's Boss. I see hair. Sorry, my master of my own distraction here. I have to like take it off before I leave it on there. So then I came in here with Boss in Gray. Why did I use Boss in Gray? Well, because I thought I actually might paint this beautiful vanity pink. I was thinking pink, y'all, but I'm going to go blue. We're gonna do a soft shade of blue today. We're gonna do some ombre blending, and we're gonna concentrate on these middle sections, because I think what's gonna happen is I'm going to come in here and use my gold Dixie Belle Gold Digger to paint all of this scroll work in a beautiful shade of gold. What do we think about gold? Gold, blue, possibly some Harlequin diamonds over here on this. Ordered some new hardware since she was missing some hardware. I'm gonna go like very ornate and fancy. I got these up at Amazon. So I'm thinking some new hardware, some maybe Harlequin diamonds down here in black and white, and possibly some stripes up here. But there's definitely gonna be ombre blending. So let's focus on this drawer and this section down here, and we will play with paint. Should we? All right, cool. Hello, I see Patty watching. Hey Patty, how are you today? Okay, as always, I do love this and not a lot of reading as the stuff scrolls by. So if you happen to drop in a comment and I don't see it, don't worry, I will come back and we will answer the comments and questions after we're done. Sorry, I'm just taking you for a little ride and trying to move some of the stuff out of the way so I can get you in the best area possible to see what I am doing. Yay, perfect. So we're gonna work on this section right here and this section right here. What should we do first, drawer or two drawers? I mean, I'm closer to this, so let's play. So on the floor, I have Yankee blue. I have Bunker Hill blue. Two beautiful blues, two different total values. See the kind of dark gray color in the undertone? See the bright blue kind of in this one? We're gonna kind of like magically see what happens as I go along because I don't really know exactly what I want to do. We also have beautiful Buttercream and vintage duck egg. I mean, hello, look at that. So stunning, so beautiful. And we are going to get painting. Hey, Renee, I'm glad. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for being so kind. The internet is technically not a very kind place lately. So anytime I get a lovely, nice comment, I'm always thankful for people popping in and being supportive of my work. I have a different brush for each color, as well as my best dang brush for blending. If you haven't gotten one of these yet, you're missing out. I actually used one of these and taught a class this past weekend about how to get a beautiful ombre blend, which is kind of smoking out those colors with this best dang brush. This brush is the best brush for ombre blending. I also have a spray misting bottle filled with water. What is that gonna do? Well, that's gonna keep my brush damp. That's gonna help me blend those colors together, and it's gonna help me decide what kind of finish ombre blend we're gonna get. So when you look at this, see this middle square? Whenever I see like a nice flat surface like this, and I'm thinking I'm gonna do like kind of like a little bit of a Mad Hatter ornate flare, this to me becomes like a canvas for my piece. So it's not even though. If you look at it, like the bottom drawer is actually a bit shorter in value than the top drawer. Like if you were to actually cut this in half, it would be about here, right? So when I look at this, I think, well, Melissa, you could do like a diamond like this straight across, because if I did it per drawer, one is going to be much bigger than the bottom, right? We don't want to mess up that value. Remember, I have that beautiful hardware. It's kind of ornate. It's a little bit crazy. It's not as gold as I would like, so I have a feeling there'll be gold gilding wax on these. So you see how the hardware is going to sit here. I think what's going to happen is we're going to ombre blend this all together. Then if I want to come in and paint these squares white and then go over top either with black, you know, to accent the drawer, or maybe some stripes. Sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. If you have an idea, tell me. I love to listen to what y'all have to say, and we can play with paint together. On the floor, I also have a bag of rags. There is some colorful cut-up t-shirts that I will be using to wipe off my brushes as go along. So now what we have to do is decide what colors we're going to use. I know I want the light buttercream in the middle, okay? I know that. I like to keep my buttercream kind of like a nice neutral in the middle to really break up the other colors. We're going to lay down a little bit of a color pattern here. And once I lay down this color pattern, what it's going to allow me to do is decide where I want those colors to live, okay? I know I want vintage duck egg, okay? So I'm going to come in with this vintage duck egg. I'm not blending my colors yet. I'm just putting them down in a pattern so that I can decide kind of where they're going to go, right? So there's my beautiful vintage duck egg. Now, I could paint all of the scroll work completely gold. How do you feel about the scrolls along the edges and the scrolls over here gold? There's a big lip. Let's push them all in. So when you look at this, can you see there's like a line? I put some tape up here because I actually already stained the top of this with my Dixie Belle's Colonial black gel stain. So I could come in and do like paint this whole ombre area,
And then what'll happen is I'll paint the gold over top, so it'll just kind of sit on the edges, because I think I want this stripe to be still blue, right? When you're looking at this, I think this part should still be blue. What are your thoughts on that? I think so. I want to come in a little closer so you can see what I'm up to, really close. Let's see, you're a gold girl, I vote gold. I vote gold too, but the question is, how much gold do we want to put on there? Like, if I do this gold and this gold and this gold, that means the majority of the desk is going to be gold, right? So I think that this little piece right here, see how it kind of cuts in around the scroll work? There's like a brush hair in here. See how it cuts in with these little, kind of like a semicircle? I think I'll do this part blue as well. Okay, so let's get in here with a little bit of that vintage duck egg and do a little blue over here. So the question usually I get is, hey, why are you painting with those drawers in? Why are you doing drawers? See, I want this little tiny bit peeking through to be blue too. So we're gonna wet it a lot so I can really get it in those cracks and crevices, because underneath is gonna be gold. We're gonna get gold around majority of this, but I think I want some of it to be blue. So the question is, why do I paint with the drawers in? Well, because I kind of want to keep this ombre blend together, right? Like, I don't want to lose the value. And if I start taking drawers out, it's going to mix itself up. What do we do about this drawer? Should we completely do this drawer in like black and white stripes? Or should I continue the blue pattern? I say continue the blue pattern, because that's going to be a lot of gold, right? If I come in with gold everywhere, it's going to be a lot of gold. You know what I need to do? Get some tape. Dun, dun, dun. If you were tape, where would you be? You would be in the giant basket behind me. I'm going to put some tape up here. I just did this Colonial black gel stain today. Don't worry, I'm working on a tutorial for you. I don't really want to get in there and ruin my work. So I'm going to like try and see if I can put this underneath so that when I close the drawer, I don't get a ton of paint up on the lip. Does that make sense? Trying to work live and paint and not ruin the thing that I just did. Of course we're gonna get paint. Hey, new apron, so we gotta cover it in paint today. But I don't wanna take off the gel stain that I just worked so hard to put on. So hopefully this will keep it a little bit less chaos. That's better. Okay, so let's go in here and put some of this vintage duck egg down. You see this beautiful vintage duck egg kind of dries a little bit darker than it does when you put it on wet, right? Like, it goes on and it looks a little bit darker. Yes. Okay, I'm liking the buttercream. I'm liking the vintage duck egg. The question is now, which blue for accenting around? Should we try Yankee blue, which is a lighter blue, or should I go bold and bright with Bunker Hill? The Bunker Hill might be too much blue, but then there might be too much gray in the Yankee blue. What are your thoughts? Which blue would you choose to accent? I probably would have chosen dusty blue, to be honest, but I couldn't find it. Which one do you think? Tina says go dark, so you're saying do this one. You're saying go Yankee, one saying Bunker Hill. What do you think? Should we try both and see what happens? Like, I worry that this might be too royal for this beautiful soft blend. Remember, we're blending with gold. Mix them. Barbara says mix them. Y'all, I like that idea. Let's start with the Yankee blue and just see what happens if we mix a tiny little bit and see what happens. Okay, let's put some over here. Okay, now I'm just gonna play devil's advocate and grab my, let's grab another brush. Do we have more than one best dang brush for blending? Of course we do, because what would this be without more than one best dang brush? I have 4. You should too, they're amazing. Let's see what happens when we blend these colors together, what kind of value we get. Remember, I like to wet this brush. This is an experiment. This isn't gonna be my final coat, and this probably won't be the last coat. But if I mix these two colors together, let's see what kind of color pattern I get. Well, it's taking it fairly light. Okay, not hating that. Let's go into the Yankee blue. Or sorry, Bunker blue. I'm gonna wipe off my brush because I just contaminated it. Respray it. So this one's quite blue, and that one's more gray. Yo, I don't know. Which do you like better? Should we ask the boss? My kid is here. She'll tell me the truth. Alyssa Madden, can you come help me for a minute? The perks of having a child home when you should be working. Can we see if you can find me some dusty blue somewhere? Because I tried Yankee blue and it looks a little bit too gray. Dusty blue, find me dusty blue, or something that will go with vintage duck egg. Palmetto, how do we feel about palmetto? Do you think that's too green? She's gone to look in my cupboard full of paint. You know in your kitchen when you have food in your cupboards? I do not.
This one is the
Which one is that?
dusty blue.
This is dusty blue.
Yep.
What do you think about this? What do you think? I see somebody saying that. Let's change it up because, to be honest, I don't like either. How do you like either one of those? So, dusty blue is a little bit less. I'm going to show you all three, okay? We're going to play devil's advocate. I got to shake this sucker up because she be new. Let's turn it upside down. And shake, 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 shake. Hey, I was thinking the other day, you know what I should get? Like a tiny little paint shaker to sit on the floor with me. Do they make tiny paint shakers for little cans like this? It would probably be very messy. I'd probably make a giant mess and have a problem. All right, so this is dusty blue. Can you see how it's just a little bit lighter? Let's take dusty blue. Of course, now I'm gonna have to wash another brush. Let's mix it down here and see what happens. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna use the same Best-Ang. So now down here we have, there's the Yankee, there's a Bunker Hill. Let's see what happens when we mix. That's better. That's better. I actually think that you're not going to see very much of that. Let's bring you nice and close. Okay, so now you can see the difference. You don't think you care for blue at all? Don't say that, because I almost painted pink. I had all the pinks here on the floor, Debbie, and I was ready to go hot pink, like AKA Barbie style. But do you think maybe I should just then stay to my vintage duck egg and my buttercream? Am I messing it up by adding like a darker blue value? I thought 3 would be better than 2, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should just do that nice little buttercream and soft vintage duck egg. Tell me your thoughts. I can see your words as I'm watching. This was Yankee, this was Bunker Hill, and this was dusty blue. Out of all 3, I know y'all have an opinion. Everybody on the internet always has an opinion. Which one do you like? Because I'm gonna vote this one out. I feel like it might be too bold. I really wanted to use vintage duck egg, but maybe the vintage duck egg is the color that's throwing me off. This is why I do a color pattern, because I feel like, we'll see. Debbie says, I think with all the gold it's enough. Do you mean like just the vintage duck egg and the buttercream? Is that what you're saying, Debbie? I know you're a smart cookie, because I know you. I know you're a smart cookie. You love vintage duck egg and buttercream. All right, Patty says the same. I trust you both. You know. Okay, that means I'm gonna go back and put back in my buttercream. Here's my buttercream, okay? Let's go back to my vintage duck egg color. Cover all the crazy that I just did right here. Because y'all, at the end of the day, what do I tell you all the time? Who's gonna say it for me? Say it louder for the people in the back. It's just paint. You can paint over top of it, right? You can paint over top of it. Nobody is the boss of you except for you. You are allowed to change your mind. Change it up, people. Change your mind. This is why I lay out something called a color pattern. I like to say I like to put the colors where they're gonna live, because it gives me an idea of what the heck is going on. What is it that you would like to achieve? What is the look you're going for? Like, I actually didn't know until I laid that all down. And then when I laid it all down, I didn't like it. Surprise. Surprise, I changed my mind. Change your mind. Let's just do vintage duck egg and buttercream because Debbie and Patty said, and y'all, I trust them. I trust them. They are artists as well, and they know what they are talking about. So remember, this scroll is going to be gold. This box, like this frame of the box, is going to be gold as well. I'm going to have to take out these drawers afterwards because, yes, I will have to paint all of the edges, but I'm not doing that on camera because that's boring bananas. Okay, make sure all that is covered up. Maybe I should also get out my stick with me and do my gold shine. But I feel like I might want the softness of my my gold digger. Okay, so I'm going to discard my brush that has all my multiple shades of blue because I need to wash that now because I like to wash brushes, don't you? Is my nose growing? I hate washing brushes. I actually have a big bucket. I just throw them all in the bucket until I have no more brushes and then I start over again. Okay, so let's go back in here. Make sure that's all in. Okay, so now we are back to classic combinations of vintage duck egg and buttercream. Let's see what happens when we just start to do a little ombre blending. I like this method, which is the small circular shading of ombre blending, because it gives me a little bit of texture where there really wasn't any texture before. And this piece has a lot of damages. She be old, she's not perfect, but she's still smoking hot. She still has a lot of life left in her. So I feel like doing a little ombre blend, when you feel like your brush is dragging, just wipe it off, respray. Doing a little ombre blend with a circular motion is going to give me some texture where I might not have had any texture before and allow me to move that paint just a little bit softer. Let's get it in here around the edges and continue my ombre blend. Ooh, Patty and Debbie, you were right. You know what it was? It was just too much blue. It was too much blue. So now I've got this lighter section around here. I think maybe I will do something on this front panel. Maybe instead of a big black and white diamond, because now I like this little ombre blend, maybe I'll do a silkscreen stencil, possibly. Let's add a little bit more vintage duck egg with a little bit more buttercream up here. It's just a little softer, right? Like it's just a little shadow, just a little shadow. What do we think? Are we liking this? Throw me some hearts, show me some love. I like this. Let's add some buttercream to these little parts that will have, what do I call this? Like mostly gold, but still a little bit lighter in there. Is it gonna be too much gold, y'all? If I do these scrolly bits gold, this scrolly bit gold, this scrolly bit gold, that might be too much gold. Let me know. Leave in the comments below because I will come back in and watch after. Should I do all of this part gold, or should I leave this blue and just do these massive scrolls along with the scroll on the bottom gold? I don't want to overwhelm because look, this travels all the way up here and over here. I think that might be too much gold. I might have to cancel myself out in that way and just do the gold on the bit at the bottom because I feel like that might be too much. It's just too much. And that means I'm gonna have to take a tiny brush and get all of the vintage duck egg in all of the tiny little cracks because there are a lot of little nooks and crannies on this piece. And we will have to fill them all in with vintage duck egg. I think I'll leave this and just do the outside part. I really do. I think because I stained the top in Colonial black that I will be using black wax. So I possibly have the option of adding wax to differentiate like these areas, show them off a little bit without making this framework gold, right? It's the question. Let's see, massive scrolls gold. So these massive scrolls, but this trim part I think needs to stay vintage duck egg. See, I'm talking myself through it, y'all. I'm here for a reason. You guys really do help me. When I ask the opinion, I'm listening. Like I do change entire pieces when you guys comment and tell me the thing that you're seeing that maybe I'm not seeing. Because I also go into it like sometimes with like, let's paint it 10 colors because that's fun. Sometimes that's not fun. Sometimes simple and classy is just a little bit more of what is needed for a look. I could come in and paint all these little dots gold. I could use just gold gilding wax and hit them with gold gilding wax. It's options are endless, people. The options are endless. But when I see so much detail like this, I really feel like I need to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, right? Like the more detail the piece has, the more I want to put on it. Not like when people are like, oh, I need to hide that detail and let's paint it all one color so I don't see it. I am the opposite. I want to paint it 100% and add all the bells and whistles, literally all the bells and whistles, because that's how we roll over here. You know how long this is going to take me though to hand paint all of these scrolls? I'm gonna have to get out some good music. What's your playlist? What do you all listen to when you like to paint? What's your go-to jam? I'm genuinely curious. I like to hear what people have to say about what they listen to. I've been listening to a lot of 70s music. I really like Cat Stevens. And then I go back even further and I listen to the Beatles. I'm loving some Beatles right now too. I don't know, they're inspiring. Every once in a while I throw in a little bit something else, but then my internet tells me, hey, you've been listening to Cat Stevens. So then they throw me some more great artists to listen to. Let's go over here and start to work on this piece. So we're gonna put some tape up at the top. What that's gonna do is protect my gel stain because it is not dry. I literally just did it before I came on to this live. So let's put some tape up here to try and minimize my damage, because you know I'm gonna do a lot of stuff to this piece. Okay, so this was repaired, like I said, with Woodubend scroll work. I removed the broken bits. I hacked off one of the missing sections. This is actually just a drawer itself. There's no hardware. You would grab it by the base and open it up. So imagine all of this here is all gonna be gold. Let's go back in and do the same color pattern. I'm gonna come in here with my buttercream, and I'm probably gonna have to wet it fairly well, because I need to get into all of these little areas where I repaired and where I fixed. And to be honest, I'd be happy if this little section in the front maybe was a little bit lighter in value than the sections on the two drawers. Just so your eye travels up and sees that beautiful shadow. It's a good combination. Blue and cream any day, all day, always pretty, right? Always pretty. But yeah, throw me your playlist. Tell me what you're listening to. Maybe I need to switch it up. I'm telling you, with a 14-year-old at home, I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift. I won't be listening to Taylor Swift. I love her, but I hear it every day, singing in the shower. Taylor Swift. So I will probably stick to my 70s music. It's a little bit more inspiring. I'd say if I have like a modern person that I listen to, who do I like right now? I still have a place in my heart for like Jack Johnson. I still love some Jack Johnson. So when you have a brush that needs to get into all of the nooks and crannies, you don't need to worry about it if your brush has a lot of water on it. If you add a little bit more water, you're going to be able to get into all of those little corners a little bit easier, into all that scroll work. If it's just a little bit more wet, it just travels a little bit easier. Where did that go? I just saw a hair on here. Now it's missing. So let's paint right over top of those Woodubend moldings, and you're gonna like see them disappear. We're not gonna have any problem mixing those in. They are going to look like they were supposed to live here. I love some Woodubend moldings. They save the day all the time, especially this set. I feel like I should order more than one of these sets, because I tend to use this set on broken scroll work a lot. It really covers well. For some reason, it always looks natural. It always looks like it should. So I should probably order another one. I would tell you the number, but I don't have the package here anymore. So I'll have to look it up and tag in the comments below. But don't worry, this is going to be a YouTube tutorial once I actually do finish. So by having a YouTube tutorial, you will be able to see exactly what I'm using. So since this drawer opens from the base, I'm going to be painting all along under the base to get in close to that edge. I'm going to use my artisan brushes. Dixie Belle carries these beautiful artisan brushes that allow you to get right up in nice and tight. They have a gorgeous little cut on them. I like the square one. It makes my job very easy, but I'm going to be painting, so I'll probably end up taking this drawer out. I'm going to paint the entire undersurface of this drawer because it's going to need to be covered well as painting, like I said, when the drawer is closed, but then opening up and painting up all around the edges. Let's get this blue on here so that we can blend our colors together. And I see one more stinking hair. Come on, you hairs. I used a natural fiber brush so that I didn't have to wash it after I applied my Boss on here, my Boss in Gray. I use a roller, like a foam roller, and then I just dispose of it in the trash because I have enough brushes in my life to wash. So I just get rid of them. So same goes for my natural fiber brushes. I throw them out if I've used them a couple times with Boss, especially if I use them with Slick Stick, because I don't want to wash that down the drain. It's always important to remember which primers don't go down the drain, and Slick Stick is one of them. Do not put your Slick Stick down your drain. That's not where it goes. It will clog up your pipes and you will be sad, and you'll have to tell your husband and he will be mad. Now I feel like Dr. Seuss. Okay, so let's blend this together. I'm gonna spray my Bestang and I'm gonna wipe it off. Okay, and we're gonna hold the drawer so it doesn't shift around too much. Let's ombre blend the cream into the vintage duck egg. I might have to put more cream. This is not impossible. You can blend around scroll work. This brush is pretty pokey, it's pretty strong. I just want to soften up the center a little bit. Let's bring some of that cream out. Let's add a little bit more buttercream here and here and see what happens when we mix it into our vintage duck egg. This is a very pretty, classy mix. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, Patty. You guys were totally correct. I had too many blues. Too many blues. I needed to minimize and take a little bit of that away. I like that. Do we like that? Isn't that pretty? So pretty. Let's add a little bit more. I really like just kind of how light it is. Nice, nice. Again, it's not a large surface to paint, right? Like, because majority of this is going to be gold. So this is actually a really small area to get in here and paint with. Like, it's not a huge space. I am going to have to take this drawer out and really get up underneath it to make sure that I am painting around all of my nooks and crannies, getting into all of the edges. There is a lot of mud on here underneath my beautiful Boss in Gray because I had a lot of holes to fill. You can definitely use your brush to really get in there if you need to feel like you need to mix those little corners just that little bit more. Getting quiet. If I'm getting quiet and concentrating. She's thinking. She's thinking. Nice, nice, good call. So that means I have to sit on the floor and get in underneath here. If I get underneath here, this will be the same vintage duck egg. I'm gonna repeat this process on the other side. And the top is being stained in gel stain. Now, I thought I would save a couple things down here on the bottom in regards to the legs so that you could see what I'm doing. Do you guys wanna see me gel stain some legs? I think that is a good idea. Let me take this small brush and get into this little corner that I'm looking at right now that I'm missing. There's many times when you see me paint something live with you here on the Dixie Belle paint page, and then I get off the camera and I come back in and I almost like I repaint, because sometimes talking and painting is hard to do. You have to really get in here and concentrate, and I don't want to miss any little tiny spots, right? And it happens when you're talking and teaching. So I will probably redo this whole section in the same colors just to make sure I didn't miss any tiny little bits. But let's focus on this leg, shall we? I'm going to take you here. I'm going to aim you down. All right, take you for a little bit of a ride. Can you see this leg down here? This is just the naked wood. Can you see how beat up this is? See how damaged this is? So you've got a couple options. You could paint the feet, but the top of this piece is really chunky, right? It's like thick. It's a thick top. So I want to take these feet and make them stained. So I grabbed somewhere, where did I put it? Another glove. Where did we put the extra glove? I don't know, maybe we'll use the old glove because that's on the floor and I don't want to get gel stain all over my hands. So, oh, this is a new glove. Ta-da! It's the new glove. I just wasn't looking. I am prepared sometimes. So gel stain is an oil-based product that I like to use. It's thick like pudding. Can you see how thick it is? It's great for going over top of surfaces that are damaged like this, okay? When something is as damaged as this and it looks as terrible as this, you need to cover it. Your options are to clean it and paint it or gel stain it, because if you want to get here and start to take off all of this finish down to the bare wood, it's going to take you a really long time, right? So this is the same applicator pad I used for the top. I just did it a couple hours ago. It's still fairly damp. I'm going to reuse this one. So you can see the color on this leg, right? See the color? We're going to change it. I'm just going to do the bottom so that you can see what color we're going to change it into. I want to take these feet and match them to the top of the piece by pushing it into all of the little crevices, all the little chips, all the little marks. It's going to make all of that stuff disappear. Can you see the difference between this beautiful dark color and this color up here that looks a little bit beat up? This is kind of like your tricking way to cover these legs in a new color of stain without having to sand them down to the bare wood, because nobody has time for that. That takes a long time, right? I mean, you can, but I'm a painter, not a refinisher. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to wipe on the gel stain. And when I get it all on, I'm going to show you the difference between this leg and the other. You could use your foam brush, if that helped, to get into all of these little marks. But I find that these little applicator pads do a great job. Now let me move my body out of the way. Can you see this one not done versus this one, which is done? Isn't that prettier? Isn't that richer? It's so nice. I really, really love it when I can match a leg to the top of a piece. I think it just adds an extra touch because you're seeing dark down here, dark up here. These legs are getting a new life. They're beautiful. You're going to see that gorgeous detail. What do you think? Do you love that? Isn't that great? I love it. So my friends, that's as far as I can take you right now, because I'm going to have to like crawl around like a little acrobat monkey to get it underneath this piece. I'm going to take that drawer out, paint the bottom part of the edge. But I really like this combination. Thank you, Patty and Debbie for walking me through this, because you were right. I had too many blues as an option. I needed to take it down a couple notches and keep it classy. So we did vintage duck egg mixed in with buttercream with the Colonial black feet down here on the bottom. I'm going to be adding gold, probably Moonshine Metallics and Gold Digger, to this entire scroll. All of these scrolls up here, but I'm going to be leaving this scroll work as is, because I feel like I will lose the integrity of the piece, and I want there to still be a lot of blue on here. So that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and figuring out my color puzzle. It took me a while this time, but I know she wanted to be classy. I have a chair beside me that's not an exact match, but I had it hiding in the shed that's got very similar feet to this. Very, very, very similar. So I think when I paint the chair to match, it will be a perfect fit. I'm thinking like faux fur seat in white. Wouldn't that be stunning? White furry seat, beautiful vintage duck egg buttercream vanity, stained black top. Maybe I'll even paint a mirror to match, and it will look like Cinderella lives here. I love it. I think it'll be fun. That is it for me. As always, if you have any questions, please send me a message. I answer every single question I get. My name is Melissa. I am the owner and artist here at the Top Drawer RVA in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm also your friendly Dixie Belle brand ambassador. Stay tuned, because I got to get this finished. It's giant, and she needs to get out of here. So stay tuned. I'm going to video the whole process, make you a great YouTube. If you have any questions about any of the previous projects that we did together, make sure to check me out on all social media. TikTok has my everyday, YouTube has my longer videos. Everything's under the same name, at the Top Drawer RVA, and I will see you again next week. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye.
So what came next after the live video was turned off? Well, don't worry, I filmed the whole thing. I came in with those same two colors, vintage duck egg and buttercream, applying them with two separate brushes and then using my best dang brush to ombre blend the colors together. Next up was that trim, and now I'm not gonna lie, it took me a really long time to paint all of the trim on this beautiful vanity. I used my artist brushes with the smaller brush set from Dixie Belle, as well as my Gold Digger Moonshine Metallics. I had to do a little bit of a thicker first layer on here, and in some spots I did need 2 layers of the Moonshine Metallics, but since it's over a fairly light color, which is that nice kind of blended blues, it went on really well. Sometimes when you're painting with metallics, it is a little difficult to get the coverage that you need. So I do recommend taking the paint color that's underneath into consideration. If you're using maybe the dark kind of deep woods green, use a like-minded color underneath, like collard greens. But this blue, like I said, is fairly light, so it covered very well. Since by this point my gel stain was nice and dry, I covered that with gator hide, like I previously mentioned, just on the top for added protection, and then I grabbed my Harlequin stencil to add a little bit of gold gilding wax to the top 2 drawers. After I finished that Harlequin stencil, I clear coated the entire base with my Dixie Belle's wax and clear. This is going to give me a base for when I come in with my Dixie Dirt. Dixie Dirt is what you see me putting on here, using my Belle brush to apply it with my Easy Peasy spray wax. It's going to sit in the crevices, and since that Easy Peasy spray wax is water-based, I can wipe it off and leave it in the darker edges where I want it to be. Dixie Dirt is super fun to use. You can use it on pretty much any project that you want to kind of get an aged look on without using wax. So normally I would come in here with a dark wax, apply it fairly heavy, wipe it back, but it doesn't stay as faded out as this beautiful Dixie Dirt does. I find that Dixie Dirt just gives me a little bit more of a truly authentic aged finish. I did also put it over top of all of the gold as well to dull it just a little bit. Dixie Dirt is available in 3 colors, ash, earth, and charcoal. I used a kind of a little bit of a combo between the earth and the charcoal. I did like the way that the earth, the brown color kind of faded out, but I also used the charcoal in a bit of the darker edges. You can see that happening here. The darker color is the charcoal. So apply your wax first, then you're left with that beautiful faded finish. I absolutely love the way Dixie Belle's wax looks, but like I said, the earth and the charcoal combined just gives such a better faded look. And then I was done. This is my least favorite part of the whole entire process, cleaning up my giant mess. But once it's done, and I can move on to my most favorite part, which is staging a vignette for the piece of furniture that I just painted. The hardware that you see on the bottom 2 drawers, they are new pieces of hardware that I purchased from Amazon to kind of match the same look of the piece, and then I recycled hardware for the top 2 drawers from another piece. I did paint a chair to match and did add that little furry seat, and it looks absolutely adorable. I love this piece. If you are local to the RVA and you wanted to come check out any of my painted furniture, it is available at the Lazy Daisy here in Short Pump, Richmond, Virginia. And you can always check out what I'm up to online on TikTok, posting on there every day, and of course here on YouTube every week. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun on this makeover.